Imagine you just received word that your home is in an area threatened by a wildfire. What is your first reaction? Do you collect your most valuable belongings? A photo album, your phone, or perhaps Milo, the family cat? How long would you have until your home was completely engulfed in flames? Days perhaps? Or maybe even just a matter of hours? Did you know that if you have vinyl siding or gutters, your home could be more vulnerable to a destruction by a fire? Until we got hit with massive wildfires last year, I never thought much about how different building materials could make the difference between protecting a home and losing it to a fire. When I learned that vinyl siding and gutters actually melt and cause homes to burn, I wondered, why are they even used in home construction, especially in fire-prone regions? Since 2018, over 7 million acres have been burned by over 30,000 wildfire incidents in California. Over 18,000 structures were destroyed, and there were 136 fatalities. Climate change is increasing temperatures everywhere, and in California, the vegetation is drying out significantly because of decreased rainfall and moisture. These areas of dry foliage serve as the perfect home for fires and typically only need a small spark to start a wildfire. While the struggle in California is very real to those of us here today, the danger crosses state lines. In 2020, over 18,000 structures were destroyed by wildfires across the country. These fires are typically caused by individual embers, not just engulfed by direct flame contact. These embers are generated from wildfires and can travel for several miles with the wind. These embers then land on a small part of the house, such as a porch, roof shingles, small gaps in between siding, and even plants close to the home's perimeter. Leaves, pine needles, and other natural debris accumulate in these gutters and serve as the perfect tinder for smoldering embers. In a matter of moments, a house can literally be up in flames, particularly if vinyl is one of the predominant building materials. So why is vinyl such a problem? Compared to its counterparts, such as fiber cement, aluminum, steel, and copper, vinyl melts at a very low temperature and is easily damaged. As it melts, vinyl releases toxic fumes that contain dangerous chemicals, such as hydrogen chloride. Inhaling these fumes can cause internal chemical burns and even death before the flames do. This threatens both homeowners and firefighters who risk their lives to save people and structures. But if the dangers of vinyl are really this serious, then why is it still used in construction, especially in fire-prone regions? There are two primary reasons: cost and ease of use. Compared to its counterparts, vinyl is typically sold at much cheaper prices than its competition due to its low cost of production and raw materials. Vinyl is also lightweight and simple to cut, which makes it much easier to work with, especially for do-it-yourself homeowners. Many budget-conscious people may avoid hiring a professional contractor and instead install gutters themselves, which makes vinyl a viable option for the DIY community. Another added benefit of vinyl is that it does not rust, which is a common complaint of those with metal gutters and siding. With all these added benefits, it is perhaps not surprising that the general public may lean towards vinyl as a housing product solution because they are not aware of the potentially catastrophic risks of its use. However, my research and experiments showed just how much of a risk vinyl can pose. To validate the dangers of vinyl, I ran a series of tests. I created a miniature house, half with aluminum gutters and siding, and half with vinyl gutters and siding. To mimic what often happens in wildfires and ember storms, I started a small fire consisting mostly of wood chips and mulch. Using a leaf blower, I simulated an ember storm. The embers landed in the gutters, on the ground, and in small gaps in between gutters and siding. As I explained earlier, the smoldering embers started a fire. In just 20 seconds, the embers landed on the ground and caused the leaves to catch fire. This caused vinyl on the ground to start burning and melting. In another 30 seconds, fresh embers piled up into the two gutters. While the aluminum stayed perfectly intact, the vinyl gutters melted until the flap folded down. Let's take a look to see how that happened. But notice, the aluminum siding and gutters are still perfectly intact. They didn't cause the house to burn down, they didn't melt, and they didn't even catch fire. One small disclaimer, for the sake of the experiment, only a small amount of wood chips and mulch were used to create the embers. However, a real-life scenario would be much longer and more catastrophic. So what do we do? First, the most obvious step is to take down existing vinyl and siding, especially in residences in fire-prone regions. Wildfires have changed from a seasonal to a year-round threat, so this problem needs to be solved as soon as possible. Second, replace it with more protective materials, such as fiber cement, aluminum, steel, and copper. Third, share this information with others. Spread the word about the dangers of vinyl. Petition your local fire department to assist in this endeavor. By building awareness and educating those you love, you are doing your part to protect your neighbors, families, and friends. Finally, consider lobbying for corporate responsibility and even legislation to hold companies and builders accountable, especially in areas threatened by wildfires. A government mandate could require manufacturers to label their vinyl products with a warning that indicates to the buyer about its vulnerability and flammability. Similarly, building contractors could be required to go over this vital piece of information to their clients before the purchase is made. A government mandate would have a significantly broader reach than just the efforts of individual homeowners. Now remember when I began and I asked you what would your reaction be to an approaching wildfire? You wondered how long you had left to leave and what important belongings you would bring with you. What if this time the outcome was different? Replacing your vinyl with more protective materials increases the chance that your home will not be completely destroyed by flames. Your loved ones could return to the home you share because you had the knowledge and took action to change what you could control. No longer was your house wrapped in flammable materials. What if this is the reality for countless families all across California? I believe this can be and should be the reality for families in areas threatened by wildfires and even the world. I urge you to replace all vinyl in your home so that can be your reality too. Thank you.